there is a very good chance that how you are and the thoughts you have, the feelings you experience, the life you lead, your relationship with money, your relationships with others, the whole lot is down to the scripts that you received as you were growing up. Be a good girl. Sit up straight. Will you just behave? Always do your best. Cry, and you cry alone. And also down to the scripts that you have received throughout your life. Who do you think you are? Why can't you just fit in? You're no good at this. I don't want to be with you. And these scripts go deep, so that we end up using these scripts for living. So that the things that go wrong for us are most likely down to these scripts. And the struggle we have in creating the life we dream of is most likely down to these scripts that we use. Well, the great news is that we can change these scripts, and doing so creates a veritable revolution in our lives. Hi, I'm John C. Parkin, and I'm the author of the best-selling Fuck It books. In fact, I was the first person in the bookshop to use the F word more than 10 years ago, when my first book, Fuck It, The Ultimate Spiritual Way, came out. I changed my scripts 16 years ago, and it created a total revolution in my life. Even back then I knew a good deal about how such scripts work, as I trained and practiced as a hypnotherapist more than 20 years ago. At the core of my revolution was the king of script changes. Yes, fuck it, of course. And in this Fuck It Revolution mini-series, I'm going to introduce you to the fundamentals of how these scripts work in our lives, and how it's possible to create a total revolution in your life too. So it may well be a strong way of putting it, but we've all been hypnotized throughout our lives by the messages that we've received on an ongoing basis. Any message that was repeated to us by someone we respected, or someone we loved, or someone in authority went really deep. It's easiest to see how this works when we think of how we were when we were young. We were open and curious and trusting, and our brains were hugely absorbent, learning quickly, remembering easily, and trusting the source of the information, so that we took everything on and everything in. Which is brilliant if the messages, and I'm calling these scripts because we learn and repeat them like scripts, it's brilliant if these scripts are good. You're amazing. Just explore and you'll figure it out. You're so capable and smart. The world is a place of adventure. People are generally good. Now, I've used this word hypnotized because these scripts go deep. We believe them. We take them on. We start to use them about ourselves and about the world. In fact, in hypnosis, which is a very simple and safe process, the hypnotherapist simply relaxes the client down so that their brain switches frequency from the usual adult beta frequency to the frequency associated with relaxation, alpha. In fact, children's brains are usually in alpha frequency naturally until they get stressed and they grow up and become adults. This is why we're particularly open and susceptible to the scripts as children. It's why these scripts go so deep, and it's why these scripts tend to persist into adulthood, living in the neural circuits of our brains throughout our lives. So we've seen how brilliant it is if the scripts we receive from our parents and our teachers and television and friends were good, positive scripts. But it's rarely the case that the scripts were all positive, of course not. And the less positive scripts go in as deep as the positive ones. You're hopeless. What are you doing? Be careful there. It's very dangerous. You're so weak and vulnerable. The world is a scary place. People are generally bad. So what scripts did you hear when you were young? Can you remember the things that were said to you? Note them down now if you're able, or just bring them to mind. And what scripts do you have in your mind now as an adult? Can you think of the things that you say to yourself, the scripts that go round and round your head? Again, note them down now if you're able, or just bring them to mind. And now compare the two lists. And I'm guessing that they're actually very similar. Do you see how we have taken on all the scripts that we've received? Now I know this is likely to be new and possibly strange information. I'm sure you'll ponder it after you've finished watching this first video and see more of how you've taken on various scripts in your life that you now use to live your life by. I realised this about one thing in particular in my life almost 20 years ago. It was about money. I had left my rather well-paid job as a creative in an advertising agency in London, and Gaia and I were intending to move to Italy to set up a retreat centre. But we needed a lot of money to do this, more than £1 million in fact, and that was even more then than it is now, of course. I realised that my scripts around money and abundance weren't particularly healthy. I remembered 2 occasions when I was chastised as a child for counting my savings money, as if having money was somehow wrong or dirty. One occasion upset me so much that I smashed my favourite water pistol into pieces. It was all very confusing. I got very mixed messages. Money was, apparently, for my Christian parents, the root of all evil. But my dad seemed quite happy showing off his new Jaguar to friends. So, sitting there, thinking about my views towards money, I set about changing my scripts. So I sat at my laptop and I literally typed out new scripts that were very different to the ones that I held. They were something like this, and please don't judge. Remember, this was just an experiment with writing new scripts. So here's a few. Money is just an energy. Money is coming at us from all directions. I love money and money loves me. Money is the facilitator for our heart's desires. Money is not wrong or right. It's just money, and so on. I had at least 30 of these, and I printed them out, cut them into individual lines and stuck them on the walls of the flat we were living in Balham. I would then walk around the room reciting the lines like song lyrics. The next day I had to go to the local post office to post a letter, pushing our 2 young twins in their double buggy. Just as I was approaching the door of the post office, struggling to work out how to negotiate the doorway with the buggy, I looked down, and there on the floor was a £20 note. I picked it up and stood there holding it. I then waited for a few minutes to see if anyone came looking for their dropped cash, but no one came. I thanked the God of scripts and pocketed the cash. And the next day we got a call from Gaia's mother. And like picking up the Monopoly card of Community Chest, she had received an inheritance and was about to wire us £40,000, which, as well as being wonderful in itself, it enabled us to borrow pretty much the rest of the money that we needed to kick off the retreat centre project. And that all happened within 2 days of writing my own new scripts and using them, repeating them, and feeling their change within me. Money is coming at us from all directions was one of those key scripts that I wrote and I learnt and I repeated over and over again. Money is coming at us from all directions. And within 1 day, it really was. That was my first big and rather dramatic experience with the power of changing our scripts. So do you see how powerfully and dramatically it can bring change into your life? Imagine doing that with 6 key areas of your life. There would be a revolution indeed. Changing the scripts that you use can change the weather of your mind from this to this. And that then ultimately changes the weather of your life from this to this. And I don't literally mean weather, of course, though who knows where you'll end up when you start to change your scripts. We ended up in Italy after all. So how do you go about changing your scripts and starting this revolution? Well, in the next video, I'm going to tell you about the first step you can take to bring a fuck it revolution into your life. In fact, it's pretty much the biggest step I took, and it happened when I was at a very low point. I'll tell you the story and how saying fuck it and changing one particular script of mine completely and utterly transformed my life, including dramatically healing me of a chronic illness. And really, I'm not exaggerating, it completely healed me. And exactly the same script will help you too. This is powerful stuff. Just like whatever scripts we received as kids was powerful stuff. But we can change the script. And I can't wait to show you how in the next video. And lastly, please do leave a comment below this video. Do share what scripts you received when you were young or what goes round your head now as an adult. I'm looking forward to seeing what you write. Alright, I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye bye.